is happening tomorrow. You can tune into that as well. Central is some of the best teams. Robab and Walks in Europe right now need to figure out exactly what's been going wrong in a few of these games. They have the damage, they've been inside every box fight, but it just can't quite survive towards the end.
We can see here, right? Absolutely good on Surge. They choose to go towards central 5th zone, trying to anticipate and put themselves in the best spot to move towards 6th zone once it pops. And so hopefully, right, a good decision like that can sort of lead to another series of good events for them, right? That sort of domino effect we will talk about. That is certainly a good spot to be in come time for 6th zone. Arto and Combat finally making their way in all the way from the north. And actually just going to sort of base up here, 760 above the Surge threshold. Surge is certainly not their biggest worry right now. I think they are worried about if they continue to move deeper, all the different teams there who are hungry for Surge going to have eyes on them. You see them taking shots there as well. And they actually pull zone. Very, very fortunate to do so. That's going to make their lives 10 times easier now.
Yeah, they didn't have like huge mountains to get over as well. Match saved, and that's one of the most important things towards the end of the game. Walks Robab. Looking so good, position fine. You have so much Surge. What is the point of the fight?
Very, very unfortunate, you could argue, because they were in zone. Where 6th zone is right now, they were there. They decided to go more towards the center. 6th zone pulls back to where they were, and now they get caught up in all these fights and eventually taken out the game completely. And it's Clown and Grows who are the Mega City bosses right now in this game. I wonder who the real Mega City bosses are, the ones with the mythic shotguns, but for now, these guys are the ones getting their limbs onto Watts and Roban.
Clown and Grows are just so good at forcing fights. And in this type of format too, when you have like 700 Surge, even being Robabs and Walk, some of the most aggressive fighters, right? It's tough when you want to just stay safe. You end up playing so defensively, never going for any type of clapback option, any type of edit play as people are approaching your box. It's tough to be in that pressure seat.
I like this rotation from them, right? Using that mountain, staying as tight to it as possible. Nobody on the right side really going to see them. The teams on the left side, they found a good timing to move as a lot of those other teams are starting to move in as well. Finally getting caught here, but just as they get into zone, so not too big of a deal.
Elvis caught up though, so it'll cost him a little bit of healing. The next move will have to be the question for that team. Kylie and Vico interrupted once again. And their inventories aren't looking too stocked up at this moment. Some splashes, maybe some slurps already used from Kylie. Got to see what Vico's rocking as well. User all by himself as Rayad's down.
Yes, it's a tough spot to be in, but he does have a free path to the zone. Kinetic blades as well. And so you've got to think he could potentially make something out of this game. Max materials, we've definitely seen players do it.
Vortexers and Axe Force are going to be the hardest rotation they've had so far, but with Coop and Cade still in fights with CZB and Nipsey, they'll be able to have that free move. I don't see anything that can really get Axe Force's HP up, but they pop out the chunk splashes right as I say that. Have the blaze, they gotta go.
No, they have free access to dead side. Nobody in this racetrack area. They can just keep going left. Sure, they'll take a couple tags, but very much worth the rotation. There is a team following them right above them, though. That's going to cause an issue.
Yeah, he can't afford to take the tags.
No.
60 HP total. They only really had 2 splashes to use. Maybe wanted to save some for the storm. But as a result, Vortex is a solo.
Nipsey and CZB had the exact same idea as them, but Axe Force gets caught out as a result of it. You see, Vortexes is fine, and this is ideally what they both would have wanted to do together, making that kind of rotation. But Axe Force caught out, and it leaves Vortex in another game where one of the players in this duo has to play as a solo, Hen playing as a solo, and again, running into zone. How many times do you see this?
It's so funny. We see everyone having these nice dead side rotations or using the mountain. Hen just flies above everyone else with no regards for anything. Everyone just spaced up though, or is thinking about it. So his absolute decisiveness might be the reason why this rotation works so well.
Yeah, and looking back, he knows those teams still need to rotate with their kinetic blade, and it's so hard to hit players in that state. You have to try to get them, more so when they're gliding through the sky than when they initially start that kinetic blade action. Somebody, though, crushed beneath his feet. Maybe an opportunity for him to steal this away from some of the other teams. They're spamming and spraying. Oh, tough spot that would be. Trying to get into zone there with everybody looking at you.
Oh no. Marco and Leader, unfortunately, getting bought back from their position as well. Clown and Grills, so many fights forced, but still below Search. Slurped up now. Their loadout's so good. And yeah, they are the absolute mythic bosses as well of Mega City. Grills still hitting so much, but everyone else has been so topped up on damage, not from fights, but just from tags. Them looking for these full box fights might have been their demise all along, even though they've won so many of them.
Yeah, but they need to keep on hunting. You can't give up yet. 20 above will give them a bit of room to be able to start making a rotation into zone, but where they land is so key because they have to keep on getting more. Moving over towards the left and still building up for height. He wants to just ping at people flying and gliding through the sky. That's his goal. The problem is he's not connected with any shots like that so far, and the chance of him doing so now seem near impossible. Again, another player slips by, another one slipping by. He can't hit anything. The best option for them may be to just land and try to take a box fight somewhere. Just taking shots at players gliding through is just too difficult.
Such a cramped up place to box too. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a safe option. They do have Mass to be able to work with, but have blocked off 180 degrees of vision of where they could possibly be going for lots of beams on long range. They've kind of just forced themselves to be in conversation with 3 duos beside them, box to box. And that is where they perform. Eye drop getting absolutely bodied. That splash that actually ends up picking it up. Not enough damage even for Grolls and Clownski. Down to just 2 more strikes from Lightning. Clownski needs something here. Him and Grolls, it's over.
The shot from them's onto eye drop was just a little too late. Their attempt for getting Surge just wasn't successful, and it's not going to be successful for anybody else in the lobby either. You've got to start getting creative, sort of start thinking about different ways to get your damage, especially this deep into the game here in the ninth zone. Splashy has a move to make, and going to use that kinetic blade to make it.
Need to be absolutely decisive here. Every single duo that's successful right now is making a move as soon as the next zone ends up popping in. If you're a solo, you have that much more pressure on you. This is Future. We saw them for the 9th and 10th zone. Just keep it close and personal to the chest. Look at the damage coming in. Future though, overstepping into the box, and it's all up to Toos now.
This is the problem. At this stage in the game, first move in zone, players going for refreshes like this. You end up getting caught in an endless cycle of just teams walking into boxes like that. And so now, an endgame as a solo for Toos. Bevies in a similar predicament.
All they can do is really just go all the way ahead. Let the slurps do the talking, be minimal on the builds. Vico, Kylie, side by side, don't look to be an absolute detriment for the moment. But still, shambles on the mats. We need to find something.
You can see he's farming this tree. Every little helps him right now in the same game. Picks up some Cypher mats as well. Rexy and Chexy building up high above everybody else, making sure nobody can reach your kinetic blades. That's the hope, and that's the goal at least. And they can continue to make their move. The zone pulls, nobody really chopping them out. So they'll just keep building.
Down the wood is what I see from Chexy though. Hardy looking to see what he can do next. Tropex on the backside, and they are going to be in the same box. Toos still surviving. Bevies might be in that same position. It's Debule who's above this box.
Toos patiently waiting for something to walk into his line of sight, walk into his crosshairs, and it's not gonna come. Gonna go deep into zone now. Maybe look to try heal off from early.
The winner of this game going straight towards the finals, and it might be Vico who forces out this shot, but it's not enough to stay inside the game. Bevies and Pablo side by side once more. They might have what it takes to just go through this absolute hurricane of builds and damage all around him. Bevies on the backside still just holding down the integrity of these builds. Pablo says it's time to move on though, find a new home. Still a little bit higher in layers. Mapassi and Chexy though still towards the top, uninterrupted.
Nobody looking at them whatsoever. A nice rotation earlier there as well. Shmeki and Gabix still moving through these zones, and they still have so many more materials than a lot of their competitors. They can continue to just tart. Finally though, somebody chopping height.
Gotta be vigilant for Shmeki though. They have so many options, but if you're gonna be lackadaisical, you might get bopped. Big shot as he moves. Pablo though, his poke can do the talking too. As Steno ends up going down. Him and Bevies, an absolute powerhouse to be able to mess with, and they have control of low.
We thought it was Bevies as a solo, but both of these guys still in this game. Perceive, he's looking to make magic happen, but it's not going to be magic this time. Has to play it the next one. Pablo, Wingu, and Bevies are on a roll.
They're a magnet of destruction here on the grass, on low ground. Anyone touches the earth, they get raised. Gabix 2, a complete chop off of heights. Fall damage might just be enough. It's Splash that ends up going down towards the zone. Still, another solo straggling somewhere. Sexy, who gets swatted like a fly, a chop down deep inside the zone, unable for the reconnect. It's a kinetic blade that gets flown towards the sky. Gabix down, Pablo, Wingu, and Bevies trying to sign their way over to the grand finals. It's 2 shots straight towards the box. Shmeki goes down, and they look at glory.
And we talked about a chance for redemption for this duo. On top of the world last major, and haven't quite reached those heights in Major 2, but finally securing a ticket back into the grand finals, and a second shot for this team to show that they are and can be a top EU team.
A top EU team that's so aggressive. They did it in their Spin Storm style. One box that has access to every single angle possible of every single team, including the last one that gets chopped down. Shmeki in the box. These guys are basically telekinetic with each other, know exactly what they're thinking. Telepathic, excuse me, but they're gonna find their way straight towards the finals. Bevies and Pablo Wingu, what a game.
After how last season went for them, it's even mad to think that they're here playing in Surge Week, but nevertheless, they are now going to be playing in the grand finals, and a really big shot for them. Of course, the spots are starting to run out, but these guys finally securing them.
Yeah, they not only chopped high ground that game, but also chopped up who's consistent towards the end. So to see what the updates are on that, we got Adam and the boys to see what's up.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, we do have ourselves a top-of-the-world duo right now, but courtesy of being down close to the ground, low ground range supreme on that one. Mini, unbelievable. I mean, a team we kind of expected could go the distance. They've done exactly that and did it with aplomb. From down low, superb to watch.
We always knew they had it in their locker. They're one of those sort of teams that can pop off at the biggest moments, and they did on those mid-ground layers, doing such a good job. And I think throughout this end game, they were shambles. They had no mats in almost every single time we hopped on board with them, but they had the answers to those questions every time.
And it seemed as though a really crucial refresh just came at the proper time, because this duo was stacked by the time it came down to the ending moments. Because Pablo Wingu, what I loved about it, he didn't even have mythic munitions, but just getting so much utility out of this tactical pistol, just chopping down the builds, refusing to let any duo try to actually take advantage of being on high ground, kind of understanding, hey, if we're running low on builds, we're probably not the only ones.
I actually love that there as well. Gabix just dropped inside of the box, and they were like, you know what, let's just get him in there, take him out. It's a 1v2 situation, easy clutch.
Yeah, indeed. 12 eliminations, though. I mean, we're seeing, like, you know, this team have managed to do superbly well to continuously put points on the board today, but now they're all stripped away because they automatically progress, which is, you know, incredible to see. And I'm sure the rest of the leaderboard are very excited that they're not there anymore. Gives them an opportunity to do that. Let's take a look here as well at some stats coming in from Pablo Wingu. Again, you know, a player we've known so well and has done so many things in the Fortnite space, and again, continuing to deliver on that promise he always makes us.
Yeah, especially when you consider that for week 3, it seems as though this duo just kind of might have struggled with the initial style of the competitive meta the first 2 weeks, but the development of being able to actually tackle more of that aggressive play style has really just molded them into this kind of hyper-fixated sensation at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen them not had the best season, particularly at the beginning, of course, not quite making finals in week 1 and week 2, sorry. They made it in week 3. Solid performance. Hopefully they can continue that momentum into grands.
Yeah, well, they can certainly really turn things around now they're in grand finals. This is how the leaderboard now looks after Pablo Wingu goes through with Bevies. We can see here that right now, Future, we talked about these guys just after the last game number 2 here. Now top of the leaderboard, 150 points, 10 points in the lead, 30 points between them and 6th position wouldn't qualify right now. You know, 2 games left to play. 30 points is easily gettable if a team pops off in game number 4.
I mean, speaking of pop-off, Gabix, Shmeki, what a performance for those guys. Moving up 23 places on the leaderboard, now making their way into the top 4. They're just shoving everyone else out of the way and saying, you know what, we're getting in here. We're enjoying ourselves. And they enjoyed themselves in this endgame attack.
Yeah, it seemed as though, in particular, they really just didn't question where their next move was. It just seemed as though they had so much confidence, and a big part of that also credited towards the kinetic blades, because it was quite difficult to actually deal with trying to take them off of that high ground initially, because it just bails you out so easily, because the moment your build gets chopped, well, you're still up in the air, you're still not having to deal with fall damage of any kind, and I just really appreciate the fact that they understood that, hey, if we have the loadouts to our advantage, we might as well utilize it.
Was that 2 games in a row they're on height now? They haven't quite found the formula for winning on high ground. They're second place yet again. But of course, they can do it on consistency. That is what matters as well. So if they can continue it in game 4 and 5, they should be okay.